Hey, what's up everyone? Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. And strap yourselves in, cause this one's probably gonna be a long one. You guys have been wanting me to talk about the renewed political attacks, not just from the establishment Republicans, but from President Trump as well, on the game industry? Fine, let's talk a little about that. First of all, yeah, it's total bullshit what Trump and the Republicans are doing. It was bullshit when they did it decades ago, and it's still bullshit now, probably even more so since it's already been debunked. Though on the plus side, I now get to point and laugh at all of these conservative apologists who for the past couple of years have been getting a little bit brave and claiming that the censorship was always just the work of the Democrats and rhinos. Conservatives never tried to censor anything. Yeah, bullshit. I never believed them then, and I sure as hell am not going to believe them now that I have proof that they were full of shit. The horseshoe theory definitely applies with regards to both sides wanting to take our rights away. The only difference is what they choose to focus on first, though sometimes in rare occasions they happen to agree on something, like video games. But I'm not here to talk about them. As should be obvious from both my words and my tone, this is exactly what I expect from establishment Republicans, and I always did. I had a little bit of hope that Trump would do more to rein them in and stand up to them, but I guess that didn't happen. It is kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. But more importantly though, let's talk a little bit about the game industry, who, in my opinion, are the real villains in all of this. It'll make sense, trust me. Though if you've been following me for any length of time, this is not going to be a surprise to you. I've been saying this for years now. I have seen this coming. How many times in the past few years, since maybe even before Gamergate, have I said that the industry's old enemies are just watching and waiting? They see how the industry has misplaced their spine and no longer fights back against censorship. In fact, they do the opposite. In recent years, they've been bending over for the censors. Oh yes, massa, our games are way too offensive. We're totally gonna censor everything. Anything to spare the precious fee-fees of people who aren't even our customers and throw our customers under the bus. The old breed of censors have been watching. They see this. And I've been warning for years now that they will strike again the second they get in power again. And what a shock! Guess what just happened? Who would have guessed that bending over for one group of censors would open up your anus for another group of censors to join on in and plow on through? The only thing that surprises me about this entire situation is how long it took. Oh, why is this all happening? Easy. The old game industry was a fighter. With a few exceptions, they didn't take shit from anybody, including the government. Sure, they followed some rules on paper, but they always did everything they could to see how far they can push things. Nowadays, though, yeah, if you look around, the old game industry is dead. The current year game industry has proudly cut off its balls and handed them over to Sarkeesian and other SJWs on a silver platter. Yeah, the same game industry that once took a stand for freedom when the censors came for the violence are now bending over and asking for more when the censors come for sexual content or to push for diversity or to try to clean up some toxic community or whatever. Just compare the industry's reactions to Thompson and Sarkeesian. Thompson, they fought against, and he was turned into a laughingstock. Sarkeesian, on the other hand, they threw their full support behind and even got her to speak at the UN. We've been seeing the industry slice off their balls slowly over the past few years. And if we've been seeing it, you bet your ass the industry's old enemies have been seeing it as well. What better time to strike than now when the enemy has cut off his own balls? They have been watching the game industry bend over for everybody else, so why won't they just bend over for them now? So because of all of this, I have zero sympathy for them at all. Let them deal with the consequences of their actions. I'm already so fed up with this that I've all but given up on the AAA industry entirely and don't support them anymore anyway. In fact, most of the games I spend my time on nowadays exist outside of the rating system entirely. Now, I know I'm sounding a little bit harsh here, and I am, but as soon as the game industry gets its spine back and shows that it's willing to fight again, not just against the anti-violence busybodies, but also against the anti-fun busybodies that they've been bending over for all these years, then I will gladly join the fight again and help them out. 'Cause let's face it, it's obvious. If they kept the fighting spirit they had the first time they were fighting against violent censorship, This all could have been avoided. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening anytime soon. The infestation is too deep and too widespread. So you know what? I don't mind watching the Western industry burn while enjoying games from an industry that actually gives me what I want instead of bending over for every non-gamer that whines. And this is just one of the many problems I have with the current year game industry. The whole loot box and other anti-consumer practices thing is another. The AAA game industry is not on our side. To them, we are just another cash cow to be milked as far as they're concerned. And in my case anyway, they're increasingly not even giving me the content I want anyway. So why should I be concerned with them when there are others out there who do give me what I want, who do stick up to the censors of all stripes, and on top of all that are masters at staying under the radar? Like I said before, I'm willing to step in and help. But first, the industry has to show it has learned its lesson and make an actual attempt to fix itself. And if it doesn't, I'm fine with a collapse and rebuild. Last time the whole industry crashed and burned, it came back way better than before. Funny enough, once again, help from the East there. Japan saved the industry then, and I'm quite sure they can save it now. Maybe that's what we need right now. They are quick to throw us under the bus all the time. So hopefully you'll forgive me for playing the world's tiniest violin for them in their time of need. Oh, and before I sign off, let's not forget about the game quote-unquote journalists who are now suddenly on our side after being against us all these years. OneAngryGamer actually did a good rant against all but one of the proper targets in one of their recent articles. Link in the description box below, of course. Quote, "Let's be absolutely real about the situation. A lot of this is actually the fault of video game journalists who betrayed gamers by attacking the industry incessantly, gaining widespread and mainstream attention with their unfettered demonization of the industry nonstop for the last 4 years, starting with mislabeling and attacking the consumer revolt known as Gamergate. I'd argue it was way before then, but moving on. Polygon, Kotaku, Ars Technica, and game journalists associated with or part of the Game Journo pros, who advocated and signaled the voice of anti-gaming pundits like Anita Sarkeesian, are responsible for the negative image the gaming industry has picked up over the last 4 years. Preach it, brother! They've also opened up the door for Republicans to come in and continue the castigation against games that was started by Video Games Press. Some of these sites have attempted to become two-faced advocates, arguing against President Donald Trump's assertions that video game violence negatively impacts America's youth, while simultaneously agreeing with Anita Sarkeesian that video game sexism negatively impacts America's youth. Gamers have called out sites like Polygon and culture critics like Anita Sarkeesian for their double standards, but at this point it's too little too late to make amends. Republicans are now looking to regulate an industry that Democrats, leftists, and those who identify as progressive journalists attacked, belittled, censured, and demonized for the last half-decade. End quote. And they are exactly right. But again, the industry itself shoulders a lot of this blame too, because they are the ones that gave in. They are the ones that bent over and went along with it. I could understand the industry caving if they were in legitimate danger and fighting against a powerful foe. But the SJWs are just a whiny minority that they could have safely ignored. In fact, as multiple examples have proven, they would have been way better off if they did ignore them or if they actively fought back and used them as free advertising. But they didn't. They chose to bend over instead. And because of this, I can't help but feel that the game industry is getting exactly what it deserves right now. That's right, I said it, and I will say it again. The game industry is getting exactly what it deserves and exactly what it needs with the new attempts at government censorship that are going on right now. Maybe now they will finally remember where they left their balls, dust them off, and learn to fight against censors again instead of just bending over and asking for more. 'Cause funny enough, this is what happens when you keep asking for more. You get more. And this is just sad because this fight right here should be a lot more black and white. We should be 100% in favor of the game industry against the evil government censors. But thanks to how blatantly antagonistic the game industry has become towards its own customers lately, it isn't. It's not black and white. It's not good guys versus bad guys. It's two bad guys fighting each other from our perspective. And honestly, I'm at the part of my life right now that I really don't feel like supporting the lesser of two evils. Let them destroy each other as far as I'm concerned. Though I have to reiterate here at the end, if they do fix their shit, I will be right back by their side joining the fight. But if they don't, fine with me. I'm just going to be content pointing and laughing at them while they burn, while enjoying content from the much superior Japanese game industry as well as a few Eastern and Central European indies. The AAA Western industry, though, it can burn to ash for all I care. And that's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.